Greetings, everyone. I'm Melissa with Ruby Thursday. Thank you for joining me tonight or watching whenever you're watching. Thanks again to folks who sent me well wishes last week. I wasn't up to live coding, but I did announce the winner of the survey, or at least the results of the survey, about what we should code up next. And everyone's really interested in, the different one-page frameworks that are going around, and so we're gonna test them out. The first one that got the most votes was Stimulus Reflex. So we're gonna dive into that. I've done a little bit of reading, but there'll probably be some more looking up things as we try it out. So it's gonna fix this there. And I am getting started a little early today. Just I was ready, and also the first bit today is going to be more standard Rails, getting a new project up and running, and we're going to build a couple. I will just build one model, just a card for now, and see if we can get it to show up on the page, and then we're going to make all the forms and everything into a one-page app, right? Like Trello. So we're gonna kind of mimic that and see how far we get today. So that is the deal. Feel free to throw something in the chat, say hi, and I will look at it as best I can. What's worked well is the setup is actually that I have the smaller laptop in front of me, and then I'm going to share that screen. The ratio is better, but I have my comments and my camera up here, so I will be looking down a little. But that is, I think, it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we'll get started just with the basic setup and see how we are. So, all right. So here we go. Let's add that to here. And yes, so here is Stimulus Reflex. You know what? I'm going to talk about it a little later after we get everything set up, just to give folks time to join, because usually I do start more like 8:30. So let's actually generate our Rails app first. So I'm just going to be running these commands here, and I'm just going to check out. Let's see what version of Ruby that we have up and running. I have RVM installed. I'll list it out. See, let's use the latest and greatest because we can. So I'm going to say RVM use. All right, and Rails just came out with Docker has arrived. Hi, Conrad. Not yet. Not Docker, but we're running. We're just gonna run it locally for now. But I promise Docker is on the list. But we're just gonna do a little spike, little show. Just a spike again for folks. What I'm referring to is just testing things out to see what will work. And so we're not going to run tests. I am a TDD girl. Okay. Conrad says, just kidding. We're going to test it out. So no tests. If we decide to go ahead and fully develop something, then I'll scratch it all and go with this and start with tests. But right now, we're just going to see what's there. So Rails did come out with a newer version today, a new patch today to 6.1. So I'm sure I don't have it here. So let me remember the exact dash V, Rails dash V. Okay. Dash V, and it is 6.1.4. And we're using Ruby 3.01. Okay. Load that up. Okay. Oh, I can hide my little notice there. All right, that's taking just a minute. Oh, should do the command that doesn't do that. Okay, well, here we go. All right, and now we're going to do our Rails underscore and new. Let's what should we call this? This is testing out one page frameworks. Let's see. What should we call it? Anybody? I'm gonna give it a slight moment and see if Conrad's at least here. So Conrad's any votes on what would you call this little test app? One page. It's like Trello. We could make a play on words there. Mellow. Jello. Stimit. Why the yes, so that is setting the version of Rails. Okay, so let me post the actual question here. It's asked why the underscore and then the version. So that's setting up the Rails with the new version. If you wanted to set a version, I just want to make sure it's the newest and greatest. So I'm going to go ahead and set the version. It probably would choose the newest one, but I like to go ahead and use. I was looking at this tutorial here just to remember the commands. So it's going to install that one. So that is why. I'm gonna go with I don't know why Jello just like stays in my mind. Yeah, I think Conrad sort of says, hey, the default should be the newest one. But hey, just to be sure. Okay, so I'm gonna go with Jello. I don't know why. It's just it's calling to me. We're gonna call it Jello instead of Trello. It's installing all of the standard. A few weeks ago, we installed a 6.1 or booted a new one up to see what would come with, and here comes the new stuff. And I wasn't on Rails, Ruby 3 then, so it's installing everything there. All right. It's taking that a minute. Well, I guess in the meantime, we could talk about Stimulus here. This is straight from here at the docs, Stimulus Reflex. Basically, they're saying that they extend the capabilities of both Rails and Stimulus, which is a smaller JavaScript package that comes with Rails now, and or is advocated for using that, and it'll have things called reflex actions, and that'll change the application state. So it's written more in Ruby than in JavaScript, right? So that's sort of the battle going on. So hopefully you can do things faster. They're calling it technical noise introduced by modern JavaScript, right? So this is, it's very opinionated, right? It's the reaction against React, as we're calling it Reflex. So I think it's doing some of this It's installing Webpacker. So it's doing some of the JavaScript stuff and the yarn. Because Rails know, hello, it says, oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to put this up on the page. Felipe is saying, hello from Brazil. I've been studying Rails for 2 months and your videos helped me a lot. I'm glad. Thank you. I know some of them are a little old. But some of them, some things are, they are what they are. And so it's good to, like that, those videos would be classic, right? I'll have to pull out the classic ones and see those are still good. So that's what we're doing. All right, so it is now installed. It's done the yarn install as well with Webpacker, and so here we go. CD into Jello. Woo! It's pretty. I don't know why it entertains me. Okay, so now we're going to simply set up just a basic card that'll have a title. Oh, there's a question here. Does Stimulus come from the folks at Basecamp? I think it's actually different folks. Stimulus comes from Basecamp, but I don't know that Stimulus. Yes, Stimulus does. Yes. I don't think the Reflex does. But I'm pretty sure they're claiming to be super small. I did watch this demo. These folks were loving Rails. Joined the Ruby on Rails camp. I think that it's not Stimulus Reflex, but I'm pretty sure Stimulus is. If we want to look it up, Stimulus. Long live Ruby. Yes, Basecamp. The origin, Turbo, and Stimulus. Okay, so this is I just looked up Stimulus. It's the Hawaii Dev Handbook origin. So that's the origins of that is the Stimulus. But I think Stimulus Reflex is then a different set of folks, and then Hotwire is then like another set that have been inspired. I'm gonna cough. I don't want to. Where's my mute? There it is. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and okay, we're done with that. Oh, and so we've just looked through here, and we will use some of this to help us. All right, and back to the card model. We're just going to scaffold it. I may end up deleting some of it, but let's just use the scaffold for now. It's been so long since I've done, and so we're just going to make it a card. And we're going to have a title as a string, and a description. And we'll also make that just a regular string. It doesn't have to be, it could be a little longer. We'll make it text. And I'm sure we could add more things, but let's go ahead and just do that. Oh, is that it? Generate, thank you. You would just do G too, right? So it's like how long it's been since I've done a new app. It's been I don't know, years. Um, other than generating the other one. So okay, so there's all the stuff that comes with a scaffold. If remember that it's quite a lot. And generally what I'll do is I'll like use the generator for a model because I like that it makes the migration and everything. But the controllers I tend to like manually make because I don't usually need all of these different views. Um, and it just makes all of them. But this will process will show how to maybe to start condensing them all. We'll make them templates and then show them with the reflex. So that is the goal. All right, and then I always like to. Oh, I have not yet. Um, watch this. Hopefully that's looking okay. All right. I always like to um, look at the actual migration just to make sure I haven't, misspelled something. Just to double check before you run it. So yes, we're gonna just do the basic things. All right, so let's go ahead and um, oh, I don't. Do we even have a? Yeah, okay, good. Get launched up the database. All right, so there we are. We have our cards. And that's kind of where the setup, I think, is gonna end. So I'm gonna get init and save where we are, so we can keep coming back to this point to then try out all the different frameworks. Um, we'll see. I may need to come back to this main branch if we decide to add some more things at the model level or something. But right now, let's just go with that. Um, Git add just everything. Okay. All right, now let's branch. I think I have my aliases in here. Okay. Would be let's do this reflex. All right, now we are on here. Okay, so let's go back to the docs. And where's the get started here? Setup. We could always do the hello world as well, just to like um, to get us started. It never hurts. So um, let's see. All right. We need stimulus. Okay. Configuration. All right. Oh, I wonder which webpacker it is. There's a big sign there. Since 6 branch is still in beta and changes how things are set up. I wonder when this was written. All right, we'll keep it in mind. I'm just gonna let it go, but uh, then we'll just copy the things that they're adding. Okay. Okay. Now it's adding, it added cable ready and stimulus reflex as well as some other things. Okay. And then we're going to install it. Okay. Running yarn. Okay, so let's check out what this initializer did, this generator. So it created a folder for our reflexes, and then it has a basic application reflex. It has a JavaScript controller here. And then there's an example reflex you can start off with. And then an example controller. And then there's a configuration file and config initializers right here. Okay, let's go look at those. So, all these new files. I wonder if I can just go to, I'm going to go to the initializer first. Is that this one? Okay. Oh, it's doing it like that. That's okay. Let's go here. Okay. Let's see if I can make it so you can read a little bit more. No? Just close it. Okay. All right. So then, a lot of. So it doesn't come with anything set up other than just letting you know some basic stuff that you can put in here. Oh, so the basic parent channel is application channel. It's just comment like noting all of the things that it comes with it. Okay, cool. All right, and then let's go to the application controller. That's easier. Okay. So this is where it's importing the packages that you need, the node modules. So you need to have this importing so that everything else has access to it. And this will be in the application controller JS. And so it's doing some basic setup for you, connecting, and a couple of standard methods here. Again, I have briefly read it all, so some of you watching may know a lot more than I do, and that's okay. So that's, it's a whole new framework. And actually something I read was like, hey, be sure you really want to learn a new framework because there's, it's a very different, just like any framework, it's in Rails, it's got its own lingo, its own structure. And so we will figure it out here, but it's got these fun things here. So, all right. Anything else we want to check out? Let's see. It had a hello one. That's gonna put together. Okay. So an example controller works with specifically annotated HTML like this. So this will go together. Can we just like launch this up? That's interesting. I wonder. Put in the basic, the index. We've got packs. That's interesting. Okay. Did we look at that? I think that came with, no, it came new. Import controllers. No, so that's how it changed it. So now you're importing the controllers that were added here as well. Example. Anything you want to do there. All right. I think that's kind of where we want to leave that. And so we've done the basic install. See what's the next thing they quick start. All right. This is the notice. They were like, be sure you really want to do this, which I found to be interesting. They're not saying, hey, uh, let's go ahead and run through this and then we'll add our card. I think it might be interesting. So let's see. No, it is the page with the latest count when the click is linked. When the link is clicked. All right. So, oh, I still have this up. Sorry. Duh, you're getting to see that. All right. So, do we have this page? Do I need to make that page? So this example updates the page with the latest thing. So we'll have reflex with the data reflex attributes. Right, so it's markup for your HTML that'll call back to this reflex controller. And that's what I've understood. Yes, I agree. I agree. That's the first time I've ever seen that. Conrad mentions that it's rare for a framework to say that about their framework. It's not, because usually you want everyone to adopt your framework. That's what you've been working on. And if nobody adopts it, then, I mean, it's going to die and you're going to move on to something else. But yeah, so it was interesting that they sort of uh, did that the opposite way. I wonder if it makes people want to like, well, no, I'm going to learn it then. It's like, the classic, oh, what's the phrase? When you say the opposite. Anyway. But yeah, so okay, so let's see, views, pages, index. I think I don't have one of those. We may just have to add it. Okay, let me close back out everything. Can I just close all tabs? Okay. Yeah, so we don't have they want a pages. All right, we'll just make one. Use new folder. And in that they want index. All right. And they want that in there. Have Clippy, right? Let's see. That one. Okay. Did that copy exactly right? Interesting. That's just, oh yeah, I guess because it's just an A tag, so it's all together like that. All right. Reverse psychology. Thank you, folks. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right, so let's go ahead. So let's pay attention to the anchor. Okay. Click and change are the ones they recommend. All right, so then we need in the app reflexes, we need a counter reflex. So here's an example of what it's going to do. It's going to increment, right? Because it's going to counter increment. Here's the reflex. So that hooks up there. So we will make a new file, counter reflex, and reflexes. We could just rename this one. What's in it again? Oh, it might be useful to have that around. Okay, let's just make a new one. Oh, I forgot. Counter. RB? No, RB. That's right. The whole point is it's in Ruby. Okay. All right, so we're going to, and it's inheriting from this guy, who then loads in Stimulus Reflex. All right, next up, I love this line here. The magic is that there's no magic. What the user sees is exactly what they will see if they refresh the page in their browser. So we're not managing state, which I find highly useful. Because there's a lot of code in React about managing the state um, and checking it. So, um, okay. We did that page already. Did I scroll down? Did they just do it twice? I think they did it twice. Yeah, it's twice. Okay. All right. So then now they're going to do a stimulus controller, right, which is in the JavaScript, right? And but it's written, uh, you know, a little nicer and a little more compact. All right. And so we need a counter controller.js, and that is up here. New file. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. So just some other warnings. And then, so we're going to increment. Okay. So now we need a pages controller, right? Here we go. Because we already did that. All right. And then we probably have to, I think we can just go to pages. Okay, here we go. So we need a pages controller in our regular old familiar controllers folder. Okay. Okay. And to note that it's going to be referencing this session, right? It says here. Um, okay, we're just using to keep this simple, right? Because you would usually use something from your database, right? Or if you have a Redis store. But right now we're just going to use the session. So this is just for an example. All right. They do have a generator. Interesting. We should probably use that for the card. We should try out this generator for the card. So I think that's all we have to do. And so let's see what happens. Okay, and then I think it should be the basic Rails, right? And then if we go to pages. Oh, no, I haven't added the path. Yeah, there you go. Okay. And so, right, routes. Um, is it still route 2? Hmm. Routing. I do want to open it. Thank you. I would open in Safari. I think I have Safari as my thing, and then there's the just plain root. 2. There we go. All right, so we'll do pages index. We'll just make it the root for now. Oh, just the root, not even the 2 part. I thought maybe. Okay. All right. Okay. Back to here. Let's just go back here. Do I have to start? Increment. There we go. All right, there it is. Ooh, see all kinds of stuff happen. It didn't work. Conrad clarifies you can use root or root 2. I guess just like everything in Ruby, it's your style. That's what do you want to do? Not everything, but there's option for style. All right, it really doesn't work. What'd I lose? Is it giving me an error? Let's see. Warning. It does something. Data count 0. Reflex increment body. I mean, seems like it should be working. Let's try again. No. If I reload the page, no. Okay. All right, let's look again. Let's see. Oh, here at quick start. Because I feel like some of these pages were twice, but maybe I'm skipping over something. Okay. There are 2 ways to enable in your projects. Use the data reflex attribute to declare a reflex without any code, or call the stimulate method inside of a stimulus controller. You can use them interchangeably. Okay, so maybe when I was like, no, that's already there. Okay, so here's inside stimulus controllers. Okay, let's do this because I think that's more likely what we're going to do. So data controller, right? This versus data reflex. Okay. I want to use the controller because I think that's, in the long run, what you would want to do. Like it's not just a trivial example then. So here we go. Data controller. That's a good distinction. And that was in our HTML. And I'm going to go through again because I was like, we already have that. Let's look at our counters controller. Oops. I think that's the same. From increment events. Okay, so this is the one I used there. There was something else I didn't quite. And step. I don't remember and step. Counter reflex. Let's look at the counter reflex. It is slightly different. Look at that. Plus. So it gives you, let's read a little bit about this. Here you can see how we accept a step argument to our increment reflex action. We're now switching to using the Rails session object to persist our values across multiple page load operations. Okay. You can only provide parameters to reflex by calling the stimulate method with arguments. There's no equivalent for reflexes declared with data attributes. Okay. So you got to do data controller. Okay. So it's incrementing. Okay. So this is different there. And then change our, that might be the same. Because now we're using the actual controller there. Okay. Now let's see. I still might have to, I'm definitely gonna refresh. If it doesn't work, I will restart the server because we did a lot of changes there. Aha! Look at that, not having to restart the server. Isn't that nice? All right, there we go. It does say that, yes. Let me, did we refresh before? No, we loaded it up fresh. And we hadn't made any changes. So it just didn't work the first time. But this, because I was going from two different places in the uh, although probably just the reflex should have worked. I don't actually remember. But let me show James's thing. Sorry. So if you change the code in the reflex class, you must refresh the page in your browser to interact with the new version of your code. That does not hot reload. So that is the difference between the different frameworks. Some of them you need to refresh the page, and some of them you don't. So I think, because this is more server side than totally client, or that's the goal, is that you will have to refresh if you make changes in that way. All right, and so that was the hello world example. Let's see if we can run the generator and see what it does to our card. And where was that? Not. Maybe that's why it did work. Not. Yes, cool. Oh, okay, thank you. Did not work. It maybe did not. Okay. We are looking at now the generator. Let's try out the generator. And they do have a cheat sheet. That's cool. All right, so we're gonna do everything and then do card on it. Okay. Let's just go ahead and kill the server. That. Interesting that it's lowercase. It just gives me pause. Let me read the docs. Generator, generate files and classes appropriate to whether you specify a singular or plural name for your reflex class. Those you're just naming it. I guess that's part of your style. What convention do you want to use? That's interesting. Well, they went with singular, so we'll just go with singular. Generate our card. All right, we'll see what they gave me. I have to take a sip. All right. All right, let's go. Okay, so some things were identical. I guess in case you didn't have those files, it would add them. And so it gave us a card reflex and a card controller. Um, card controller. Oh, that's our regular controller. Our JavaScript controller. Um, and then it adds here. Okay. To do anything else when this controller connects. Okay. Single controller naming. This is interesting. I don't actually know what you mean. I will have to look this up. They are following the Phoenix framework conventions by using single controller naming. What's the Phoenix framework? Oh, from Elixir. Okay. Peace of mind from prototype to production. Oh, singular controller naming. Um, let's throw that up there real quick. Singular. Um, and so you think those folks were inspired by Phoenix? Okay. Um, cool. All right. So let's go back to this it has a basic dance. Assuming you create a card dance action. Okay. Error message. Um, okay, cool. James also, says yes, they were inspired. Okay, so now that's cool. So what should we do with this, right? So, so if we go to, oh, sorry, my hands got wet. It's wet on the keyboard from my drink. Just trying not to get water on the computer. Okay. So the next step, card dance. Okay, well, to your markup, okay, be sure to add data controller card to your markup alongside data reflex card dance for the life cycle methods to fire properly. Okay. So we want to, I'm sorry, let's go back and forth. But so the life cycle that we want to use. So Trello has, so you create a card and the card shows up on the same page without you having to refresh. So I think that is the tutorial I saw was like a form, and adding the form, like the form stays at the top and then you keep adding. I wonder if I could find that tutorial real quick because that is, I think, what we want to do here. Because if we go to cards, it's going to be our standard index, right? Let me just open up another. I guess we can just browse here. Okay. So if we go to cards, There are no cards. And then we go to the new card, right? It's going to take us to a new page. But if we had other cards, we'd want them to stay there, right? So we want the card, the form to be here as well as the other cards. Okay, so I think that's the basic scope, is that the form stays on the page and we just keep adding. And as we add, if we had another browser open, then it would refresh without, right? So let's see, right, the next to each other, right? Right, so if we did a new card, what kind of fun stuff? Make up like the Lorem Ipsum here. I try to use pop culture. I don't want to give away too much what I'm watching right now. If other people aren't up to date, we are trying to watch Loki on Disney Plus. I'm just gonna go with Loki 1. I'm rad. Okay. All right. So here's the one, but then let's go back to the cards page, right? I'll just manually go there. Loki, I'm rad. Okay, but if we went over here, it's not shown up yet, right? So the goal is that it would show up on another browser. Okay, so that's the goal. And was it part of this quick start? I don't think so. What did I read? Although I'm curious about this cheat sheet. Real quick, sidebar. Oh, there it is. Instead of refreshing the entire page, you can portion of the page update with morph selector. Interesting. We'll have to play with that. Life cycle tips. Okay. Um, oh, I watched it. Oh, that's right. It was the goat rails. Here we go. But I'm not gonna. Oh, was it? Nope. It was written out. Funny confession. I tend to read more tutorials than I do watch them, even though I create in video. I know. Da, da, da. La, 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 hello world. I want to just click one. I want like. All right. All right. So in the example, we got our index. Well, we have that already. I think index just stays the same here. Close out the contradiction. Okay. Card show. Maybe we'll call it card show. No. Card update. Okay. I should have emailed it to myself. It was all like exactly what I was gonna do. And now I can't remember. Uh to-do list. Here we go. It's pretty much what it is. Yep. That's okay. I don't want all that. I don't think we have to do all that either. I'm gonna make it one page on the card index. That's my goal there. Now they added the form right to there. We can leave that later. Add reflexes. Here we go. Oh, it adds. Okay. Create event. Here we go. This is in our card controller. All right. This is in card. All right. And and then right, the life cycle thing, right? So when it's success happens, right? Form reset. Okay. Or if anything happens, you can reset it. Okay. So then go back to, all right. We'll go back to our form here. And we will have, so they just put it all on the one page. Well, you could always add it as a layout too, but let's just do, we have our views. We can they usually do that. So you just put it on the same page. An improvement could be to maybe have the wait, just like this does. New render form. But we're going to have to do this is what I'm remembering. We're going to have to set up a new card on the index action because that's the page that we're going to be on. So I don't want the back at all. All right, we could even do this new card. Okay, so then that goes now here, above here. Now we're probably gonna have to edit our form to have all the reflex stuff in it. And I'm gonna find our Ruby controller and add in or don't know, this, we'll just add this here instead. So it has access to our new card. All right. And then what does it okay. Doesn't have anything specifically pointing to reflex stuff. Maybe that maybe he's gonna do that later. No. Okay. Oh. Okay. So it's gonna move this create over to the reflex. Okay. As opposed to the standard Rails controller. Interesting. Okay. All right. Okay. So then, yes, you're going to wire up the data. Right. Okay. So that's the next step, right? So then you have your let's see what we have to. Because this is referencing this now. Interesting. Okay. All right. Did I actually copy it? No. So this is in our cards reflex. Where did that go? In a whole other folder called reflexes now, right? No. JavaScript reflexes? No. Yes. Okay. Okay. Add it to the bottom here. All right. And then this is slightly off here. Okay. So we're going to do card. And then card. And then card. And we do have a title, and there's also a description. And card. Okay. And then we up to the data. Right, right. Did they talk about that here? If I just command find. Okay. So, right, to review, so it's the DOM event, right? And then it's got this the syntax, a little arrow. The reflex act class, and then the action. So that's how it's going to find it. And where's the question came up? Where is the reflexes directory located in the directory hierarchy? It is alongside, um, just on the same level of views and models. Uh, so as if you had, just sort of added another namespace to your, I've done this with services, um, uh, other things that you could put in there, as a main component there, main uh, module. So yeah, so it's right alongside. That's where they put it. Which is interesting. But then the JavaScript also has a controller, which is interesting. And so that goes lower down. JavaScript has its controllers, not to be confused with your main controllers. Maybe you're not even going to use your controllers anymore. That could happen. Oh, or you have pages, that obviously you don't really need Reflex on. That it's not every page that needs it. So, I think by the end of this, if I then delete that Ruby controller, I think actually it would still potentially work. I don't know. The routing, not routing, the routing might be a little off. Anyway, I'm just guessing. This is playing. This is spiking. All right. So, um, getting back into it. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to here, and so we want so the action is to submit on the form, and then the controller, and then the action. So let's go ahead and add that data attribute to our form. Oh, where'd the form go? Okay. Just making sure we're inside, completely inside form 4. This is form width, but I think it'll still work. Okay, come on. Make it another. And of course, when you copy paste, okay. Okay. Oh. Okay. I don't know if you've noticed the next line. So we shouldn't be handling form submits and reflex actions. Interesting. For this example, we're going to ignore that bit of advice. Okay. Interesting. I really more wanted the cards to show up. But yeah, I guess that is part of it. Let's take a sidebar. What does Stimulus Reflex suggest? Um, oh, interesting. So, just stick with Rails. Right, because this one? No. Wait. Why am I? I think I was actually clicking on it. Interesting. Okay. I was just reviewing what came with. Uh, uh, which is not. Okay. Yeah, you can just have a form without telling it to go anywhere. Yes. Like a search bar, right? You're not actually creating anything. Um, hmm, interesting. Hmm. So yeah, I mean, you can use it. Mm, that's a big one. File uploads are unsupported by Stimulus Reflex. That is a big one to note, because I have to say lots of forums want you to upload files, especially a Trello clone, right? Like they have pictures and all that kind of stuff. Um, uh, okay, so you could still use it if you have something directly uploading like Dropzone, which I have used before. Um, but it's just sort of adding another thing to the mix, if you really, really wanted to to uh, to update the form with Reflex, as opposed to the other. Um, okay, you're gonna need to clear the form. Um, okay, well, why don't we? Interestingly enough, well, see, this is. Uh, Hit enter to your item automatically appear in the to-do list. Try adding a few items, noticing how fast it is. Um, is it also updating the index? Is creating. Did I miss how it's going to show in the like items? In the items, right? So if it's handle the form. I don't really want to toggle done, so to speak. I'm gonna delete. I just wanted to see. I'm gonna go back up here. I'm gonna scroll back up to their full HTML. Um, right. How does it? Um, Update this area automatically, or in a one-page sense. Um, Just make it pretty. Um, Commerce adjust. I believe this should have some div for adding the items to here, right? Hmm. I didn't see any. Okay. So it's creating, and then it's resetting your form. I believe it just skipped it. Okay. Submit, right. This is where they, yeah. Look for ID equals on the page. Oh. Nope. I think this tutorial is missing this. Was there a comment? You can toggle it. That seems like it would, right? Have a done, destroy. Okay. It's a couple of times. There's a checkbox. Um, Maybe because this tutorial's adding. Hmm. Adding. I'm sorry, I trailed off. We have this checkbox thing happening. Um, mhm. All right. Well, nope, nope, notes. Got to find that other one. A page. Okay. Stimulus. A morph. That's right. We were looking at a morph. Each morph is useful in different scenarios. What is this? All reflexes are in fact page morphs until they are not. Here we go. using the data reflex root attribute. Okay. Selectors. Okay. Forwards and backwards. Okay. When something, okay. Key up. Example words. Okay. Okay. I don't want to do permanent selector words. Method. Selector in HTML. Okay. Uh, message yelling. Okay. They're gonna bash on React there. React is making your muscles sore. Oh, okay. Sorry, I should be reading this out loud. Sorry. Yeah, this is so morphing. Uh, so okay. Pagey refactoring, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. Here we go. Time. It's fine. I think we could modify this. Render posts and div. Markup with a top level div. Wait, okay. The post partial not listed, right, is rendered as a collection. And so it must be handled differently. You cannot put the top level div into each element of the collection. Instead, simply wrap the render call itself with markup for the top level div. So we're going to morph the ID. What? Okay. You can morph many times. Okay. Um, and then render posts, and then the closing ends. So here's your what used to be here. Um, okay. Interesting. Okay. Let me get a sip of water or drink. Oh. Aha! They put in the partial. I'm not doing pagey though. But okay. I see what they're doing though. So this goes in. Where's this go? This goes in the. Oh, here's the whole thing. Here's the controller. Okay, here's the reflex, div paginate. Where's that getting called? Okay. Partial. Okay, so here's everything they used. Where's paginate getting? I guess that's this is actually more involved than we're doing. I need a balance. But I think, all right, so if we go back, it may make sense if I go and look at the index here. So we're cards each do. So if this was a partial, right, then we make that's would we still render? Okay, because I think this is getting done by Pat Pagey. So if we still render the paginary and post are being updated with Morton. Okay. Render post. Ah, I see. But you don't need the at because you're so paginate is getting called. You still leave it like that? Interesting. Okay. Leave it like that as in like you still grab the posts in your regular. Wait, no, this is your reflex controller. Got it. And then, and here's the partial. Render posts. Is it better as a partial or each do? Right, because otherwise, well, I don't know. Maybe you could leave it like this. Okay, yeah, it gets page one of the posts. If we maybe we just leave this alone, and then we have a partial. Let's do. Right. Not post. Sorry, I'm. Oh, no, I also meant cards. Okay, and then from the index, we can still have all that. Oh no, just this part. Because I don't really care about looking at it. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Conrad. Yes. Would it be card underscore card HTML? Yes. Okay. I don't have VS Code set up right with all of the indentions here. It's being wacky. All right. It's doing 4, but I'm copying in 2. Um, just grab the TR tag content. Yeah, not the each. Oh, except I don't want. Oh, that's what I wanted. Uh, gonna do with that. You shouldn't need the each here. It's gonna do the each in the reflex. Okay. Okay. So here's our little cards. And we're gonna render. I'm just gonna keep. I just do it above. Oh, there's the head. Don't you need the head? I guess it doesn't matter. Oh, a table. Oh, I see. But what we could do is put just this part. Um, and then just replace this with um, something similar. Mm, no, I think that's wrong. Oh, yes, that's correct. Thanks. Thanks, Conrad. All right, so um things go wrong. Nothing works. Okay. So this is what it had before, I think. And now it's saying to um thanks. Markup for top level. So where posts are being updated using Morphdom. Okay. mm, I'm trying to see where this is getting this def paginating because that's, I guess, with Pagey. So we want a def index? No. Where that's Hi, Fig330. Bit late. How's it going? We're making progress. Sort of putting together tutorials to figure out how to make this Trello card into yeah, one page with Stimulus Reflex. But I am running out of steam. Hello and goodbye. Because it's 10 o'clock now. I'm running out of steam. But I think uh what I sorry Fig, to bounce. But I think it's probably be wise to go ahead and wrap up. Is Pagey? No, it's not. Pagey is like, this is how you would do. This is what I'm trying to translate. The question is Pagey part of Stimulus Reflex? No, it is a separate thing to paginate. I'm pretty sure. Um, uh, and so I'm trying to translate what they're doing in the example into like a simpler thing. It's a Ruby gem that helps you. It helps you paginate. And so this is, you could also make it, I guess, part of your one page app. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. But that's the real world example they're using. We actually need um, something a little less full. And so I know I looked at it. I was like, oh yeah, this is what I'll do. And of course, I didn't copy the link to myself. So, but it's good to look through documentation and examples and see what works and what doesn't. I think that's a skill that I've learned and hopefully continue to learn. To see, okay, this they're doing this, but I want to do that. So how do the two go together? But it's still helpful to look at the, obviously, I did the same thing. I'm making it, a tutorial about something. I'm using cards, but what if you were doing something completely different? So, um, uh, yes, yeah. Watch the replay. We'll definitely continue on next week when I um, have, you know, my mind wakes up and I'll I'll look again for that tutorial. And I think we're really close. I think I just need to find. Um, I think it is the morph because you're updating, a piece of the DOM with the new information. And so that I definitely think that's the key word there. We're going to be using morph to do that. And I may look at the recommend. And I also think a goal for next week would be to do the recommended thing by the Stimulus Reflex folks and have the form not be reflex, but go back to more of a standard um, Ajax form, right? And then what is that like to have to have like the Ajax working with Stimulus Reflex on the same page? I think that's interesting that they recommend that. And so like how does that go together? Because I guess they're using, stuff that's already in Rails and it's there. So I think that'll be a good goal for next week. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up. And I'm gonna just remove my. There we go. I could have been talking like that the whole time. I forget that we could do that, and then hide that. There you go. All right. So we'll end on this space. So have a good week. And yeah, I should be good to go next week, barring any diseases my children bring home from daycare. So oh, there's 3 types. All right, we'll go into each one and see what happens. All right. Have a good night. Take care. Bye bye.